Hi guys, thanks for joining me on today's lesson looking at the perpendicular distance. First of all, I'm going to look at what is meant by the perpendicular distance, and then we'll look at the formula and then how to use the formula. So basically what's going to happen, you'll be given a straight line. Okay, obviously we're doing coordinate geometry here, and they'll give you a point for the most part. So let's call it xy. It could be like 3, 5 or whatever point it's going to be, and they ask you to find the perpendicular distance from the point to that particular straight line. So what does perpendicular mean? Hopefully remember that perpendicular means it meets at a right angle. So it's kind of looking for this distance here from the point to that particular straight line. The formula is quite a challenging one to use and to remember actually. It looks at the distance is equal to, now it's the absolute value of ax1 plus by1 plus c, and hopefully you recognize that that part of it is the general form, apart from the equals 0 bit obviously, all over the square root of a squared plus b squared, which is your Pythagoras theorem part of it. Okay, so looking at that particular formula, you have lots of different things. You've got the A's and B's there, and the C's. Okay, so and you've got the X's and Y's. So what piece of information would you need in order to be able to use this formula? Well, you need a coordinate. Okay, so you need at least one coordinate. So that's an X and a Y value, and you need to have the A, B, and the C, as you can see there. So you need to know your A, B, and C as part of your general form. So you need to know your equation of a straight line. So the two pieces of information you are going to need, or going to need somehow, is a coordinate that you're looking for, and the equation of that straight line in the form of y equals of the general form. Sorry. Okay. So let's look at a particular question. So let's say EG1, and again with this, it's a good idea to maybe write this question out, have a go at it yourself, using that particular formula, and then see if you're right. So I'm going to say, find the perpendicular distance. I've just written that shorthand there. Hopefully remember that means perpendicular. Of the point, let's say P at 4, -3, to the line, we'll say 3x minus 4y minus 1 equals 0. So I've given you a slightly easier question in terms of I've given the equation in the form of general form. So let's look at the formula. Is the absolute value ax1 plus by1 plus c all over the square root of a squared plus b squared. So that's my formula that we need to remember. And it should be a matter of just putting it into that formula. Okay, so the absolute value. So some people like to put a equals 3, b equals -4, c equals -1. You might even put x equals 4 and y equals -3. But once you start getting good at it, guys, you probably don't need to do that. So we've got the absolute value of 3 times 4 plus -4 times -3 plus -1. You might want to put those things in brackets so you can see that section of it, and the square root of a squared plus b squared is 3 squared plus, and then b is -4 squared. Make sure you put that -4 in brackets, particularly if you're using your calculator, because otherwise it won't square the negative as well as the 4. So obviously you can start seeing that's quite a lot in that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to scroll that up a little bit so we have a little bit more room to sort of write on. Okay. So let's simplify a few things here. Distance equals, well, 3 times 4 equals 12. -4 times -3 is 12 plus -1. Now obviously if you got a calculator, that's fine. 12 plus 12 is 24. 24 minus 1 is 23. Now it's the absolute value of 23. So if that was a -23, then it would be positive 23, but it already is positive now, so we'll leave it that way. 3 squared plus 4 squared well, that's going to be 9 plus 16 is 25, so square root of 25 is simply 5. So my distance is 23 over 5, or 4.6. Okay, cool. So you can see there, all I'm doing for that question is I'm substituting the A, B, C, the X and Y into my question, making sure that we use the absolute value of whatever's on top there. Okay, nice easy question to start with. Let's go a little bit more challenging. Okay, find the perpendicular distance of the point 6, -1 to the line y equals 3x plus 4. Okay, this is slightly more challenging. Hopefully you've realized it's because I've used the gradient y-intercept form this time for this question. So I can't simply look at this and say I can see what A, B, and C is equal to. I need to rearrange it into the general form. So if we rearrange this, we get 3x minus y plus 4 equals 0. So now I can see that my A value is 3, my y value, also my B value, is -1, and my C value is 4. I've got my X value there of 6 and my Y value of -1. So let's put it into my formula now. The distance equals the absolute value of AX1, so 3 times 6, plus BY, -1 times -1, plus C, all over the square root of A squared, which is 3 squared, plus B squared, which is -1 squared, equals. Okay, again, you could probably just chuck this out on your calculator, but I'm going to do it by hand. So 18, -1 times -1 is simply 1. So 18 plus 1 is 19. 19 plus 4 is 23. Look at that, 23 again. And its absolute value of 23, which is simply just 23, all over 3 squared, which is 9, plus 1 squared is 1, so square root of 10. Now, obviously I can't leave it that way. I need to make sure that if I need to simplify it, I mean, they might say 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places, but if not, we want to rationalize that number. Okay, so hopefully you remember to rationalize. We need to times the top and bottom by root 10, which gives me 23 root 10 over 10. Okay, last question now. So this question, so we'll call this EG3. Okay, so this is where we're given a nice drawn line here, and it's going to ask us to find the perpendicular distance from the line, so not from the line, from the point B. So I'll write the question out. So find the perpendicular distance from from B to the line AD. Okay, so again, you can see I've been given a coordinate, which is B, which is 0, 3. I've been given my straight line, which is 2x minus y minus 1, which thoughtfully they've already put into general form for me, so that's nice and easy. Okay, so all I need to do again is just put into my formula the absolute value of 2 times 0, which is my AX, plus my BY, which is going to be -1 times 3, plus my C, which is -1, all over square root of A squared, which is going to be 2 squared, plus my B squared, which is my -1 squared. Again, you could have written all the A, B, and C's out if you wished. 2 times 0 is 0, -1 times 3 is -3, minus 1, so we get 0 minus 3 minus 1, which gives me -4. But remember, we want the absolute value of -4, so we'll take 4 over 2 squared is 4, plus 1 squared is 5, square root of 5, which we know to be 4 root 5 over 5. That's my answer. Okay, I simply rationalize that by timesing by root 5 over root 5. And that's it. Okay, that's all there is to it. It is a difficult formula to remember, so that's probably the hard part of this. But like anything, guys, if you put it up on your wall or you keep on going over it, you will remember it. Just try to think of the top part sort of being the general form ax1 plus by1 plus c, and the bottom part is being your Pythagoras, a squared plus b squared and square root it. Okay, but remember also to take the absolute value on the top part of it. Awesome. Hope you found this useful, as always. If not, chuck a comment on. I'll try to improve it if I can. Have a good day.